Hey Board Game Maniacs, Maniac Rob here to bring you another exciting, and I mean exciting, gameplay video. Now, if you haven't seen this unboxing video or never heard of this game, check out the unboxing video on BoardGameManiacs channel so you can get the hoedown on everything that's included into this box. And what I'm talking about is This War of Mine. This War of Mine is a board game that originally was a video game, and it was so overwhelmingly popular that they converted it over to a board game. Now, a little bit of information about this, if you didn't watch the unboxing video, is right in the instructions or in the box itself. On the box it says that you can take this game, you can set it up, and you can start playing without worrying about the rules, because you learn the rules as you go along. And as I said in the unboxing video, that I was going to put this to the test. So this is the test. I do not know anything about this game except for just skimming through the instructions. So we are going to learn this game together. Now, hopefully there's no spoiler alerts here on anything that's going on. If so, I apologize in advance, because again, I've never played this game. Just set it up with the instructions and we're going to definitely put it to the test. Now, This War of Mine, it's by 11-Bit Studios and Galacta. So if you want to check them out, you can just Google search This War of Mine, the board game though, because if you just Google search This War of Mine, you're going to get a lot of video game information and so forth. And also you can probably go to the 11-Bit Studio too as well. I'll probably put a link to in the description down below. So I got the board set up. We're going to go over the setup, and then we're going to look at the instructions, talk about all the other things, and how I prepared the board itself to play this game. Now, the age range in this game is an 18 plus, so it is an adult game. There is a lot of adult scenarios, as in it's very dark and bleak, as what I read in the instructions, and also too as well what I seen into this. It's based like civil war is broken out, and all you are doing is trying to survive as a group until the ceasefire is called and everything else is okay, and you can go back to your normal life, whatever it's going to be after the civil war is ended. So this is what it is. You're trying to survive in the civil war. That is kind of like in a nutshell of what happens. And you can get different things, like you do search, you can do scavenging, I think it is. There's even like night raids, which is really interesting, where people are going to come and try to raid your compound at nighttime to see if they can destroy. So I don't know a lot about the game, like I said. I just read through the instructions briefly, set it up after I did the unboxing, and this is a few weeks or a month later, so I finally got time to do this. Now, according to this, it could take up to 120 minutes or even longer to play this game. So this may be a 2-part series, it may be a 3-part series. I really don't know. It depends on how the gameplay goes and what happens into the video, because who knows? It's all uncertainty into the Civil War. This is incredible because I like this kind of type of game. It's dark. A lot of unpredictability is there. Lots of cards, miniatures. There's specialty dice in this too as well. There's other like little miniature tokens. Again, find the unboxing video onto our channel, on the YouTube channel BoardGameManiacs. You can see the unboxing for it if you want to know more information about what's in the box. So have a seat, board up the windows, make sure you got some supplies like some water and some food and everything, and hopefully you have a couple of weapons so that you can wait out this Civil War and watch this video, This War of Mine. This is the board setup for the game for This War of Mine. You can see it has a lot of components to it. That's for darn sure. So I will go over how I set this up according to what it says specifically right in the book. So just to let you know too as well is, before I get started into this, that you can download an app, like a kind of a side-by-side app for this game. And what the app is for is so that, because you have this large book that comes with the game, it is called the Book of Scripts. And with the Book of Scripts, what I understand is it had different parts of little increments of stories on what happens if you get a certain thing in the game that tells you to turn to the book of scripts. So what the app is it's pretty much, it's a book of scripts combined into this computer application that you can download for like any Apple device or any Android device, or even for Windows too as well. So I did it. You can see I have a little tablet here, and this is what it looks like. There's many things that you can do for this. I really don't know how to use it except for the script part. I'm going to leave it like this because you just enter in whatever script that comes up in a card, and you just click on it and something happens. That's all I know about that. This is my dice rolling. That don't come in the game, obviously, but you can see you get nice miniatures, whole bunch of cards, and I set it up according to it as well, and I will go over each individual how I set it up, and we'll talk more about that. There is tutorials online about how to play this game. Some people just play like maybe a chapter or two or a part of the scenario. I did skim through just to make sure that the board was set up properly according from the book, and then I looked at a couple of videos. But other than that, I am a newbie at this for sure. Just like you guys are going to be a newbie if you never played this and you're thinking about buying it, and you just happen to find BoardGameManiacs YouTube page, clicked on it, and clicked on this video. So hold on to your hats and I'll go over in detail how the board is set up. Before I go over the board setup, I just want to give a shout out to my friend Steve. He is Mountain Miniatures Gaming. Look him up on YouTube because he has a great YouTube channel. He's also known as Mini War Gaming Steve because he works for Mini War Gaming too as well. And he painted all these miniatures up for me. So you can see the great detail into these minis and how Steve painted them up to make them look really nice. So head over to Mountain Miniatures Gaming, give me a shout out, say like, hey Steve, I seen that you painted the miniatures for BoardGameManiacs for this war of mine. Great job, because they were great. What's not showing here is 3 other miniatures because I got them on the board as my chosen characters. So shout out to Steve from Mountain Miniatures Gaming. Mountain Miniatures Gaming. For the setup of this game, all I did is I opened up the book, or it's called the journal. And in the journal, it does tell me exactly how to set everything up. It was very simple to set up. It does look overpowering with how much stuff is there on the board, but it is very simple to set up. You just have to read the instructions. As the game said, that you can just open up this journal, set up the game, and start playing it and learn the game as you go along. So again, I'm just a couple over things here. So it first tells you to draw 3 characters, and you have to put a hunger marker of 2 onto them. So what I did, I'm just going to swing over here, is I got my 3 characters. I picked P-A-V-L-E, the soccer player, Pavli, maybe, or Pavi, I don't know, I'm not pronouncing it properly. I'm not going to say it. But anyhow, he's a soccer player. He's in the red, the other 2 are in the black because he is my leader. Now, each of these characters have different stats onto them, but into the game it does say they start with a hunger level of 2. So originally, in the book it says that each character has 3 actions. I'm reading the book as we go along here because I can't remember all of it because again, I just skimmed over a bit. But you can get different condition markers on them, such as like the hunger. And you can see there's a black dot here, which means there's only 2. So when you get one of these, you have to go by the highest condition, and that's how many actions you have. The maximum you can have is 3 actions per character per turn, but as he gets more hungry or less hungry, you can get your 3 actions back. And in the box, they do have other hunger tokens. They have other things like fatigue. They have like illness, misery, and so on. So your characters will get very hungry, very tired, sick, and everything. So that's pretty cool for that. You can see too, as well as you got these kind of tokens right here. That just means that this character who's in red around, his card is red, he's the leader, but he has a blue base. So I'm just gonna grab my blue base token here. And I'll show you him right here. He's pretty cool. I put the blue base on, knowing that, hey, this guy here is my leader. And it's a 1 to 6 player game, like I said, but I'm playing solo. And you have to have 3 characters, no matter if you're playing the solo mission or not. So you can see he looks exactly like his miniature. It's really cool. I'm gonna put him back. And let's grab the other one here. So actually, I'll still go over his stats. I'm sorry about that. So Fleet of Fools, when whatever his name is, in the group flees from combat, reduce the number of backstab wounds by 2. There's also your spirit, no effect, and then, so I'll go over this as we go along. Inventory is 4. That means that he has 4 in his inventory. Like I said, it said in the book and on the box that you can just open it up and start playing it. So that's what we're doing. So obviously I got Steve to paint these before we even played it, because I don't like playing much miniature games on camera without them being painted. So anyhow, this here is Katya. She's a reporter. That is one of my other characters. She also has hunger level 2. Her base is yellow. And these basically just snap on and off. And that's about it for that. Again, different stats. She has this different inventory than what the leader has. He has 4, she has 3. And Marin over here has 3 too as well. And he's a garage owner. So you can see that these aren't soldiers in any way. They're, average ordinary citizens, garage owner, reporter, and soccer player. So because of this, it's civil war. They just are bunkering down so they can try to survive until a ceasefire ends. There's the miniature for Katya. Oh, sorry, I get it in. There we go. Nice detailed, really cool. These miniatures, I love them. They look great. And Marin, or Marin, whatever we want to say it, he's going to have the green base, and you can see the detail in him. He is holding a wrench, hopefully to bash somebody in the head that's bugging him, or is trying to attack him or anything. Yeah. So in the book it says get your 3 characters, put hunger 2 on them all, which I did. Let's go on and continue on with the board setup. One thing about the board, it is double-sided. As large as this board is, it is a double-sided board. So this is your basic board setup. And then if you flip it over on the little corner, it says advance. So you can play either the basic game or you can play the advanced game. Now, the book of scripts that I looked at, which is over here, you can see like the size of it. It's a pretty significant book. And if we flip here to close to the end for the scripts, the last entry is 1,947. So therefore, there's 1,947 possible things you can encounter and play during this game, which is crazy with the replayability of this. It just blows my mind of how much you can get involved in this and how much time you can spend at this. And you're going to play a different scenario almost every time, guaranteed, depending on what the book is. That is really cool. Another thing which it tells you to do is you can see all these cards laying out on the board. What that is you have like heap cards, rubble cards, closed door cards, Jeez, I can't even talk. Furniture cards. It's kind of reflective there. There you go. Bars, not a bar that you go to and drink, but like bars, like a jail cell bars. And these are kind of like the type of cards that you get. So these are kind of like barriers that you need, special things that you can do so that when you land on one, you can see like the closed door here. I'll get a little bit closer into that. Pick the lock. So you have to have a lock pick to pick that. Rubble, dig through. So requires a shovel, requires 2 characters, either or. So if you have 2 characters, you can pull the rubble, or if you have 1 character with the shovel, I guess you can dig. Heap is like a search. You can see furniture is a search. And closed door, we already did that. Furniture is a search. Is there anything else? Oh, bars right here. So again with this, it's cut through, so it requires a saw blade. So if you don't have a saw blade in your inventory, I guess you can't cut through that and you're in trouble. So it tells you exactly where to set them up, and the way you know is you can say just move this bars out of the way, and it says bars. So you find the bars card and you put it on that spot. Furniture goes with furniture, rubble goes with rubble, heap goes with heap, and that's pretty much it for the board, the cards that you lay on the board. Now another thing that you got to do is you can see on the perimeter, you can see here you have a whole bunch of different types of cards, and we're going to go over them too as well now. Before I do that, all the cards that are laid out, like the rubble closed doors, they're called shelter cards into the book. Another kind of card we're looking at says Chapter 1. Now there's cards underneath it. I already prepared it off camera, but in the book it says prepare the event deck. So how do you know that this is where the event deck goes? Well, let's move these out of the way. It says events. So that's according, everything here has a name for it. So there's, you know, there's no second guessing. Where do I have to put this card? Where do I have to put that card? Because they're all labeled out onto the board, which is really cool. So talking about the event cards, it tells you how to set it up. So with the basic side of the game board that I'm doing, it may even go for the advanced. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it says place the event cards face down on the event space without looking at their fronts in the following order. Shuffle 3 ending event cards. This will be the bottom of the deck. Number 2, place the Chapter 3 card on the top of the deck. Number 3, randomly draw 4 event cards and stack them on top of the deck. Number 4 is place Chapter 2 card on top of the deck. And number 5, randomly draw 3 event cards placed on top of the deck. And number 6 is place Chapter 1 card on top of the deck. So, just so I can show you here, I'm not looking on the other side because I don't know, because there are instances. Chapter 1, that's the top. And then you're going to have event cards, like so. And then you'll have Chapter 2, and then event cards, then Chapter 3. And then you have the ending event cards. And that is how you set up the event part of this game. Another thing it says is distribute the cards on the board. Place all decks on their corresponding spaces on the board, which I said already. But it also says place the fitting cards with a green corner on the fitting space. So again, some cards have green corners, some cards have red corners, and it tells you exactly how to go about setting up where you put them and what cards you use. And also it says here, draw 3 cards from the location deck and place them on 3 location spaces. So if I swing back here, this is a location deck. I randomly drew 3 of them and I placed them onto the location part. So underneath this, what it don't show you is, okay, this is a close location to home because it's got the home and close. This is a distant location from home. And this location is a far location from home. And also too as well, what I see is you have numbers. So that's a 10, a 12, and a 14. As you can see in like the shadows in the back, it looks like cards. So you're going to have to, depending on what location you go on, you're going to have to draw that many cards from another deck, which is called the exploration deck. And this exploration deck will kind of signify, let me look in the book here. Hang on, sorry about that guys. Again, we're learning this together. So the exploration deck signifies when you go out and you are scavenging in the night phase or evening phase. So this part here, you choose what location to go to, and then you're going to, so if we choose here, just say there's 14 cards. We grab 14 exploration cards and we place them here in the unknown deck. And then we flip one over and we resolve it, and then we discard it, and we keep going until we run out of the exploration cards, which are right here in the unknown pile. And once that is done, we are done scavenging it from one of these 3 locations. Now, other things happen with this location in the book, but again, I didn't read it all. We will go through it as it happens, and you'll see it firsthand as well as I am. You can see here too as well, you got like this red ruby, and numbers with ears, and it looks like sound. So this is your noise counter, that when you go up, you're going to have to do different things for different noise things. That don't make any sense at all. Noise things for different noise things. So if you create noise, you're going to have to roll your dice, and according to this, it is a black dice, and you have to roll lower than what the number is for the noise to go off. If you roll higher, the noise don't go off. If it does go off, however, then you have to use a resident card. And some of these residents, I don't know, I guess you can run into like survivors and hobos. That's what I seen on the video anyhow and that. So then you would have to resolve this too as well. So it could cause a lot of problems. And then you have the findings deck where when you scavenge here or whatever, you may find advanced things into this. And then we're on to the night raids. So during the night phase, this is what I was talking about, where people can raid your camp. And if you don't have somebody on guard, then they can steal your supply or your storage, which is right there. during the game setup for the storage, I'm reading this out of the book. It says, place the following tokens and resources on the storage space. So a lock pick, you can see right here is a lock pick. And you do a shovel, which is upside down right there, but anyhow, it is still a shovel, no matter if it's upside down or not. You wouldn't be able to dig a hole if it's upside down, it'd be pretty hard. 4 components. So these are components, they're like cogwheels. And then you have 4 wood, they're kind of in the shape of wood. And 2 water, which is, you know, like, they look like rubies, but they're see-through, so they're water drops. And you have raw food. And that's what makes up your storage for setting up the game. So what I'm assuming is, because I've seen briefly about the videos and everything, is raw food is to feed your colony, water is to refresh your colony from drinking, and then you can build stuff and you can do different tasks with that. Like I said before, it looks kind of crazy how big this is and how many cards are. And the first time when I seen the setup of this in the book, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this because it's so much to it. But when you start reading the instructions, it's very simple to set everything up. It's crazy. Very, very simplistic. Now, one thing I'd like to add to this is, which I thought was really cool, is that, now this is a board game, it's not a video game, but it is based off a video game. So this War of Mine was a video game, then it turned into a board game. What's really cool about this is, just like in video games, when you're playing and you can't play anymore of the game, you can save where you're at. It's the same with this board game, which is pretty wild. So with the board game, you can't save your progress if you can't finish it during one sitting and you want to come back to it later. And that's probably what I'm going to do with this. I may play through chapter 1 or chapter, depending on how long it is, but save the results and then do another video, depending. I might die right away, who knows. But just so how you can find out about saving, for saving your game, and that they give you a sheet that you can use for saving your progress. And I'll show you that sheet right now. This is a look at the sheet data, or save sheet data. So it has your locations of what location you have when you end the game, which you can see right here. You just write down the locations. And then you can write down everything which is explored and which is not explored, the type of character you have, and you can also write down, you know, what their fatigue, their hunger, and everything is for this, and the epilogue. Like, there's so much stuff. So if you're playing this game and you can't finish it all in one sitting, like I probably am not going to do because it'll be a really super long video, is I'm going to save my progress by writing everything down on these save sheets, so that when I come back to it to play it again, there's no question. It's just everything is there. It's all documented. Very smart. That pretty much concludes the board setup. Now, I know that I probably missed a couple of things for the setup of this board to go over, but everything is into the book. Again, the journal right here, and it tells you everything you need to know in these first 2 pages. It tells you exactly how to set it up, which is super. Because there's no question about, oh, should I do this or did I have to do that? You just follow step-by-step instructions in the book on how to set it up. So far it is living up to the reputation of just open it up and start playing, and the game will teach you how to play as it goes along, which is pretty cool. One thing I forgot to add is when you're setting up the board and you come to the resident cards and the night raid cards. Now, I did show you in the book that some have green corners, some have red corners. And what it tells you into the first 2 pages is take the resident cards and the night raid cards that has the red corners and set them aside like I did here, because they will be added to the game later on as you come across certain things. During the gameplay, now I'm just going to show you just so we're on the same page. Ha 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 ha. So this is the setup, first 2 pages. Journal open, setup, 2 pages. Then when you flip it over, then it is morning. And it tells you what to do for the morning. And we're going to do that. And then it says next player. So after you do this, I guess you hand the book to the next player and you go to the next thing, which is your day actions. And it tells you everything what you have to do for your day actions. After you've done your day actions, you're going to switch. And then there's a dusk. And you can see like water and hunger. I think at the dusk phase is where you're going to probably have to feed your colony so that they don't get destroyed and died or die from hunger or dehydration or what have you. So after you do all of the dusk stuff, it says here next player. So then you keep giving this book around to all the players. Again, this is 1 to 6 player game. So this book is going to be passed around a lot until you start getting used to what phase goes when and what you can do in each phase. But because I am the only one player controlling 3 characters, I'm not going to pass this book around because I'd be passing it in air, and that's really strange. Yeah. Anyhow, so then you got your evening phase. And there's different things you do, like sleep in a bed, sleep on the floor, guard duty. I'm going to read this again. I didn't really go over this book because I want to be up for the challenge of it saying that you can learn to play this game as you play it without having to read the rules and question things and so on and so on and so on. So after evening phase, it's the scavenging phase. So again, that's where you go into these locations, like I said. And you just go from there. So scavenge seems like it's a little longer because it's 2 pages. And then you pass the book to the next player. And then it's a night raid phase. Oh, I guess this is where, and this is where people come into your compound. They probably try to steal what you have in your story chair. After that is done, your night raids. You can see part of the night raids is a crime wave. Gonna have to check that out. And then it passes to the next player. And then it's the dawn. So I guess this is where everything is all reset and everything. So like the scavenging party returns, assign the meds, draw the fate card. Fate cards? Cool. Next player, narrative action cards. So that would be narrative action. You can see the fate cards that are right there. It's kind of a little shiny from the lights. There you go. And then narrative cards, color cards too as well. You have your character cards, visitors, chapter objectives, and your events. Your locations I went over, your exploration, night raids, findings, and night raids. So pretty much I went over everything that I can remember judging from the book. But one thing that I want to tell you is these 2, so like you can build a moonshine still. You can build a chair. So during the game, you can take an action and sell some resources or whatever to build these things, which will help you during the game. So like building a fire, I seen in one of the videos, because you can get cold tokens, so you're gonna freeze. So by building a fire, you keep your warmth and probably your morale up or something like that, so that you don't have more actions during the day phase to go out and do things, because the less actions you have, the less things you can do, and the more your colony is going to suffer. The dawn phase, like I said, is the last phase, as you can see, there's nothing else. And then it just tells you about combat, how to play combat, how to do the combat when you're fighting against different enemies that you come across, and raiders and everything else. So that is it in a nutshell of how you set it up. I know it's a lot to take in, but again, I'm putting it to the test. I don't know a lot about the game. We are going to play this first time on video together, so to see if we're going to be able to successfully win, or understand at least, the game This War of Mine, the board game by 11-Bit Studios. Haha! And Galacta. Is it Galacta? I keep screwing that up. Galacta. Yes, it's Galacta. I had to bend down and look at the box just so I can see. So that's all I want to talk about for the setup. Oh, actually, my bad. There's one more thing I want to talk about for the setup, which is right here. Distribute tokens and resources. So this is kind of where you have all your other tokens. So you can see like gray tokens, yellow tokens, green tokens, and so on, which is really cool, because what this is the insert of the box. I didn't know that until I looked and like, hey, this looks really cool. And then from the video, I seen that they had them into the box. So this is the insert of the box, and you set this up so you use the box in the game too. So I'm just swinging over here, and you can see I got the box set up exactly like it is. So the green tokens, yellow tokens, gray tokens, and then you have like your different effects, your resources, weapons, you know, all the lovely goodness stuff that you have here. And that is it. Pretty cool. Last but not thing, this is a look at the app that I'm going to be using so I don't have to keep going through the book of scripts, which is the big book. So during the gameplay from the video that I seen online, again, all I did is I just went to the Google and I searched up gameplay tutorials because there's some out there, and I'm just adding to this to help educate us board game players on playing new games such as this one. So just say it's on scripts, and I say, okay, I have to draw a script like 6, 6, 6, 7. So you do that and then click the play button. My tablet's a little slow here. So yeah, then it gives you this everything else and what you have to do. So that's pretty cool. And then, you know, you can save or whatever you want to do, but I'm just going back to scripts and wiping that off. So that's how you use the app for the script part. For the scavenge part or the save or lockpick, I have no idea. I'm not even going to attempt that yet. I'm just doing with the scripts right now. All right, Maniacs, it's time to get this on the road and start seeing if we're going to survive this civil war anyhow. Hopefully we will. So we start off with this page, which is A New Day Begins, Morning. Event. Draw and resolve the top card from the event deck. Do not forget to add the cold tokens to the cold space on the board as described on the revealed event card. And then after I do that, it's next player, continue to the day action phase. But where I'm the only one, like I said, I'm not going to pass the next player. But it has a little bit of little insert in here. Movement in the shelter. You may place characters on any shelter space and fitting shelter cards to which you have access starting from the guard space. Characters may freely move horizontally. You can also move vertically using the ladder set between the floors. However, obstacles like bars, locked doors, rubble remnants, and holes are impassable, and the cards and spaces behind them are unavailable. So, having said that, if you look at the board, there's the guard space. I kind of just put them on the ladder starting off. So, again, first thing is I'm moving them and I'm putting them on the guard space because that's where they're starting. Now, from the book, as I can tell, is you can go anywhere, but it's got to be logical. So I could go, for instance, here, this says new idea. Choose 2 cards from the idea deck and put them into the fitting deck. So this is your fitting deck and new idea. So this is your fitting deck and this is your new idea. So I guess if you wanted something from here, it would cost an action to put them here. Because remember, you get only a certain amount of actions per turn that you can do, depending on what your states are. So right now I have 2 actions for each character because we are suffering hunger right from the get-go. This is the event deck, like I said, so we're going to pick up chapter 1. Just like that, and we read what it is. So with the chapter 1, it does have a lot of text here. I'm not going to read through all the text on camera because it is going to make this video even longer. So I'll record this, I'll come back with the summation of it, and we'll continue on. With this, pretty much what it says is it says find the final objective, and then the chapter objective and everything. So you can, I randomly drew it anyhow. And this is like the chapter objective. So I randomly draw, so there's 3 cards there. You have your final objective, and then you have your other chapter objectives for chapter 1, 2, and 3. So we'd flip over like your chapter objective and just, you know, that sort of stuff as we play the game. I know this kind of sounds a little confusing because I'm confused myself right now because I don't know nothing about the game. But as we play it, we will learn more and more. So this is the event part of the morning. You know, I do remember seeing in the video that there was a little bit of question about should this be the first event card that you draw, which is your chapter 1. Don't tell you really too much of anything except for to set up your chapter objectives. Or should you actually draw another event card up there? So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to choose to do is I drew this one, but I'm also gonna draw an event card too as well for the beginning of the morning for the first chapter, which is right here. With this one, it said to set it up. Now, it also said that you can look at these at any time during the game, your chapter objectives, but because we are on the first chapter, I'm only gonna flip over the first one so that we can look at it and read it at all times if we want until we do the objective. So with the first chapter objective says, help the sick and wounded in our area. At any moment you may discard any number of meds, bandages without resolving their effect. For each discarded med, bandage advantage, advance the objective marker by 1. So what I'm assuming is that every time I find meds or bandages, I can give it and go up, and then when I reach the 3, I guess it's over. And the reward is help. Lower all characters' misery by 2. Penalty, epidemic, raise all characters' illness by 1. So if I succeed with this first chapter objective, then I guess I can lower the misery by 2, but if I fail, I raise all characters' illness by 1. So that's a little tough by the sounds of that. I looked into the box and I found this. What is this? This is objective status. It is a marker. So right now we're starting at 0, so I put it here, so every time that I add meds or bandages, I can move this up until I get to there. So I'm assuming that is exactly what it is. So because of that, and I drew the chapter 1, I'm going to pull the first event, and that's what we're going to do for the event. So let's see what the event card tells me to do. With this event, you can see where it says add 1 cold to the cold space. So we will do that, but it says shelling. If more than 1 character went scavenging during the previous night, your shelter becomes the target of a shelling. Distribute 2 wounds between any present characters and destroy 1 already built fitting card. Return it to the fitting deck. After you resolve this card, remove it from the game. See, because I drew this as the first event instead of the chapter 1, nothing happens for this. And I decided that on camera, as everybody's seen, so that's good. The only thing that will happen from this is I got to add a cold token to the cold space on the board, which is right there. There's the cold token, it's double-sided, place it there, so I got 1 cold token. What will happen from that? I have no idea, but we will see. But luckily I decided to grab an event card first after the chapter 1 because I could have been potentially be taking more damage onto my characters, which I really didn't want to do. But anyhow, that is the morning phase. So we drew the event card and then we pass it to the next player and we start with the day actions. What the day action tells you can do 3 actions, but again, these are conditions, so they will knock you down. It explains that. So you can see like the hunger, so they only have 2 actions for all of them for the day actions right now. It also says available actions like action on shelter spaces, action on shelter cards, and so on. I'm not going to read through every page because it will add a lot more length to this video, like I said. So I'm just going to read it, come back, I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my characters, why I'm doing it, and then we'll just proceed. For my day actions, what am I going to do? So let's start off with the soccer player, which is my leader, which is the blue guy right here. You can see there's many things that we can do here. I have a shovel and lockpick and food and water and then other resources. Because I got the shovel, I'm thinking I should probably try to start digging some stuff because we can't go here because we don't have a saw blade to cut through there. So that's kind of off limits. So I think my first action for my hero, the boss guy, the soccer player, he's going to go onto the rubble because he's going to use a shovel, which is right there, and he's going to dig the rubble. That is what he's going to do. Now let's go to Katya, the reporter. Got to decide what she wants to do, Katya, the reporter. So she's right here. Now, judging from the book, it don't tell you like you have to roll a dice to count for your spaces. You can go anywhere, again, like I said, vertically or crosswise, left or right, but you can't go for, say, like you can't start the guard shop and say, okay, I'm going to this heap, because that's a second level. You actually have to go up the stairs. And when you go up the stairs, you're not going to be able to go all the way over to the heap, because what you have to do first is you're going to have to pick this door. And if you pick the door, hey, that's good, because then you can remove it. Once that's gone, you can keep continuing on. Just keep that in mind. So with her, Katya, what I think I'm going to do is I don't want to pick the door lock yet with her. I am going to move her up here to the heap so that she can search. And then I'm going to take Marin, because he can't go here, can't go there. He can go down this way, but bars, you can see right here, we don't have a saw blade, so we can't cut that, so that's not good. You can go here, which is called poking around. I think he has a special ability for that. It says, Handyman, during the day action phase, when you use poke about action, Marin adds 2 to his black die roll. So he gets 2, so I'm thinking, you know what? He's gonna come down the stairs and he's gonna do a poke around. So that is the first action of which everybody's going to do. I'm gonna do it off camera. I'll come back with the results. I know I said I'm gonna come back around, but might as well record this first part so we get the gist of it on camera together. So with him, the boss again, he was on there. I just moved him off because he's going to use a shovel to dig. So it don't say anything in the book about having to roll to see if you successfully dig. He just digs. So when you dig, you switch this over. Oh, rubble remnants. Dig through requires a shovel or requires 2 characters. Remove this card from the game. So I guess with the shovel, for his first action, he started digging, but he flipped over to the blue edge, which you're supposed to start with face down, and then when you flip it over, it's kind of not making sense what I'm saying. Anyhow, so just to kind of clarify this for anybody who's confused as I am. So what rubble, obviously it takes 2 actions to clear rubble. So the first time you shovel, you're going to flip the card over to show rubble remnants. So you start shoveling, I'm assuming, and then it starts caving in a little bit more, so you have to dig more. So it's going to take 2 actions to clear this one. So that's his first action and what he did. So let's go on to Katya the reporter, and she's going to start searching the heap, as you can see there. So Katya is going to search. So I don't know, it don't say anything about rolling dice to successfully search. You just search. So she's going to flip it over. Oh, there's something here. So let's see what it tells us here. So you gained 5 components and 5 wood. Add these to storage or remove this card from the game. So then I get 5 cogwheels, which are components, and 5 wood pieces that we put into our storage. That's really good. Good job, Katya. That's your first action. That's 5 components, and I grab my 5 wood out of here. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. But you're noticing like it's depleting out of our storage. Once it's gone, it's gone. Oh well. There you have it. That's what it looks like in our storage. So you notice I have a lot of cogwheels here. It's taking up a lot of space, and then the wood. But what you can do is, let's count out the 5 cogwheels that I just got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So with them 5 cogwheels, I'm gonna leave 1 in here, and I'm gonna take the rest of these. Actually, no, I'm gonna take 1, leave 1 in there. I'm gonna take out 5. And if you come over here, you can see it says storage times 5. So if I put 1 in here, that means there's 5 of these. It kind of clears up the space here, and I take the rest of these, and I'm just gonna put them in here, even though that I know I have 5 there. And I'm gonna do that with the wood too as well, so that it's just gonna clear everything up here. That was Katya's first action, and we also did the soccer player boss's first action. Pavli, maybe? I'm just saying Pav. I'm just calling him Pav. Pav, that's his name. And now we're on to Marin, the garage owner. So he's gonna do a poke around. So what it tells me what to do is you take the black die and you roll it and then this is what it is. But Marin got a special ability. It's called Handyman, and he adds 3 to the black die roll. So if he rolls low, you add 3. You're gonna have 3 anyhow. So that's 6 plus 3 is 9. So I look on here, and 9 to 10 is 4 wood, or 4 wood components. So I get to take that. That's a really good roll. Good job there, Marin, the Handyman garage owner. There's a 4 wood that he got. So again, I'm gonna take these 4 wood and just get them off the board and take this one and put it here. So that's, I got 10 wood and 5 components in the storage. Just to keep this clear. That is all of their first action. Now you can see, because they have the hunger level 2, so they only technically have 2 actions each. So for their second action, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do, but we'll figure it out, and I'll come back. I have some choices to make here for my second action. What I'm noticing, like, this is not your average board game. You definitely have to do a lot of thinking in this and trying to plan out so that you're not going to have problems with your colony. So I'm thinking with him, the soccer player boss, he's going to dig because he's got the shovel and remove this card from the game. So because of that, this spot is open. I'm going to take the shovel and I'm going to put it back here. And that's pretty much his second action right there. Nothing else he can do. So for Katya the reporter, her second action, I don't know if she should try to pick the lock or just try to clear that heap again. It gave us some good stuff. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. She's going to go to clear the heap, and he just cleared the rubble. What to do for Marin now, because I don't know where his second action, because we can't cut the bars because we don't have a saw. I guess he can go up to try to pick the lock. That kind of makes sense. So let's go up here for Marin to try and pick the lock. So I chose my 3 actions. I'm going to complete the actions, which I already completed his. So let's go on to Katya while we're still rolling. And heap search. So she's going to go over here where the heap is, and we search this heap deck. And I gain 1 lock pick, 2 compounds, and 5 wood. Add these to the storage to remove this card from the game. So that's a good find. She's pretty good at searching for sure. Her special ability is bargain. When trading with Katya, present trade commission is lowered to 0. Oh, so when you trade something, you gotta give them a commission for trading with anybody. So she's probably gonna be one for doing trading when I'm gonna do that. That's pretty cool ability. So anyhow, that's what I get for her. I just made more space here again. You can see I have 15 wood now and 10 components in there, which is good. I got one right here. Yeah, so that's that. So now we're going on to the action of Marin, and he's going to try to do a pick. So I got my lock pick, which is right here, and I'm going to try to pick the lock. To pick a lock on a door, what it tells you to do in the day actions is you roll the black die, a result 1 to 3, no effect. A result of 4 to 10, discard the lockpick and resolve the back of the card. So he's going to try to pick the lock. I got my rolling box out, but I'm not really using it, so let's start using it without destroying it. So there's the rolling box, there's the black die. I got a 2. Oh. So he failed at picking that lock because 1 to 3, no effect. So because of that, you suck at picking locks. But according to the book, this does not disappear. It's only when you successfully pick a lock. So put it back into my inventory. Now you see there's also an extra lock pick there because where we searched the heap, and Katya searched the heap, I should say, and got the lock pick. So that is it for a second action. I'm going to put everybody back into the guard station now, because they would not stay there. They would go back right here into the guard station. And that ends the day actions, and now we are going to go on to the evening. When I said we're on to the evening phase, I meant the dusk phase. So with the dusk phase, water, you give water, you feed the food to the characters in the colony, and it tells you the different values they have here. So like 1 canned food is lower their hunger by 2, raw food lower their hunger by 1, and their hunger stays the same, which is a vegetable. No food raise the hunger by 1, and then you go to the next player. So let's resolve this part for the dusk. We're back into the guard station of the colony. So now we have to feed everybody and make sure they drink. So the problem I see so far is there's only 2 water. So that will give water to only 2 of them. So they have water. Now, in the book for the dusk, it says, for each character that did not drink water, roll a black die. 1 to 5, raise the hunger by 1. 6 to 10, raise the misery by 1. So right now, none of them have misery, but they have hunger. So I have to roll the die and see if I get lucky here. So here's the die. I get a 2. So 1 to 5, raise the hunger by 1. So I got to choose one of my characters here and raise the hunger by 1. So they're going to be at hunger 3, and that's not a good thing. What can I do? What can I give? Who can I give it to? Let's give the hunger to Marin. So let's, I can't flip that over there, at hunger 2. So what you do is you're going to discard this one. You can see hunger, but you can see hunger 3. So you take this and you attach it onto them. So now they still have 2 actions, but they're at hunger 3, which is kind of bad. So that is what happens when you don't drink. You're going to roll a black die, and you're either going to raise misery or raise hunger. So after that, and again, we're on the dusk phase. Now I have 3 raw food right here. So with 3 raw food to feed the colony, 3 raw food, it lowers their hunger by 1. So I'm going to take all of these, and I'm going to put them back in there because I don't need them because I ate. So because of that, it lowers their hunger by 1. So the boss goes in the hunger 1 and he gets 3 actions now. You can see there's no black. She gets 3 actions. Now he's at hunger 3. I'm not going to flip this over. Well, let's flip it over. That's hunger 4. So no. So we're going to get rid of this hunger and grab the hunger 2 again and put it here because his hunger goes down to 1 because I fed all 3 of them. And that is the end of the dusk phase for the game. So we go on to the evening phase now. During the evening phase, now this is where things can get a little interesting, I think. So it says, assign each character to one of the 4 available tasks. Sleep in a bed. Place a maximum of 1 character in a bed. Set the character's fatigue to 0. Nice. Sleep on the floor. Place any number of characters on a sleep on the floor space. Lower the character's fatigue by 2. Guard duty. Place any number of character on guard space to defend the shelter from attacks during the night phase. The higher the prowess of the guard, the better. They must be at least 1 guard on the guard space, otherwise see 333 in the Book of Scripts. Raise 3 characters' fatigue by 1, or raise these characters' fatigue by 1. So anybody who goes on guard duty, they can't sleep, so their fatigue is going to go up by 1. And last but not least is your scavenging. Place up to 3 characters on the finding pile space to set them to the ruined city during the scavenging phase. The higher the inventory and prowess of the character, the better they will perform during the scavenging phase. Raise these characters' fatigue by 1. So whoever's not sleeping is going to get a fatigue. That's pretty much what it sums up. And that is for the evening phase. let's look at who we're going to put on guard duty then, because I don't want anybody to come in and raid any of the stuff that we got. So he has a prowess of 1. She has 0, and he has 1. So does anybody have any special abilities for searching or scavenging? So I don't see anything there for any of them. But anyhow, I think the boss should set an example and go out for scavenging. So he tells Marin, say, hey Marin, you're on guard duty. And Katsi and I are going to go out and we're going to go scavenging. So keep an eye out, stay awake the whole night, and make sure that we don't have any raiders. Because none of them is choosing to go to sleep, they all get a fatigue. So there's a fatigue for you, there's a fatigue for her, and there's a fatigue for you. So all of them are fatigued, he's standing guard, and they go up into the findings to search at one of the locations that you can see right here. When you move them up there, it's called scavenging. So those two are chosen to go out scavenging while Marin is on guard duty. In the book for the scavenging, it says choose a location. Choose one of the 3 available location cards and move all the characters taking part in the scavenge onto it. Note the rule on the red space of the location card if there is one. And then it says choose equipment. If there are any weapons like a hatchet, knife, pistol, etc. or equipment like the lockpick, saw, or shovel in the storage, you may assign the token to the scavenging party. Place them on the findings pile. You may also take any token from the storage for a possible trade. Oh, so you can trade, that's pretty cool. Set the noise marker. Place the noise marker on space 1 of the noise track. Whenever the game tells you to raise or lower the noise, move the marker on the track either up or down respectively. Whenever the game tells you to roll for the noise, whenever the game tells you to roll for noise, roll the black die. Okay. If the result is equal or less than the current noise, an encounter is immediately triggered. Set the noise marker to 1. Draw and resolve the top card from the residence deck. After resolving the resident card, resume scavenging. You might still meet someone else. So that's for the scavenging. Then it goes on to prepare the unknown deck. We'll get over that part. For right now, where are we going to go? Let's take a look now. We have a ruined villa, and this is on the far location you can see. So basement entrance, rubble, jam door. So that's the 3 parts of that. A church, and that is a little closer. Basement entrance, closed door, and bars. But we don't have any saw, so we couldn't take that to try to cut the bars. And then we have the garage. Oh, Marin's not here. It'd be good if he went there. Anyhow, bars and rubble. So we have a lot of resources. We need food, we need weapons if we can find any, and we need some water. Special findings, nothing. Mechanical parts, electrical parts, weapon parts, saw blade. That may be good to do. For the church, it's 100% alcohol and jewelry. For the ruined villa, it's a book, medical part, raw food, and a knife. Because it's our first one and you can see the amount of cards that we got to do for the unknown deck, let's do this. So we are all going to go here to the garage. Now, there's no special red thing telling me that you have to do something. What we're going to do, because there's rubble, we're probably going to have to do some digging. So we're taking the rubble, the shovel with us. Also too as well is there's bars, but we don't have a saw blade. So we're not doing that. We do have a lockpick, however, 2 of them, which can come in handy. I wonder if I should just take a lockpick so that we can do a trade, or just maybe just leave it like it is. We're gonna leave it like it is. We're gonna live on the dangerous side. So we're chose to go to the closest location, which is the garage, and we got the shovel with us for the scavenger part. So continuing on with the scavenging, or scavenger part of the game, prepare an unknown deck and explore. Draw as many exploration cards as shown on the location space of the location you choose to explore, 10, 12, or 14. Place them face down on the unknown space without looking at their fronts, not fonts. Now, resolve these cards one after another. Discard the resolved cards by placing them face up on the discard space on the board. After each resolved card, next player. So after one resolved card, you pass it to the next player, and you keep going until they're done with the exploration of the exploration cards. When the game tells you to return exploration cards, return them face down without looking at their fronts to the exploration deck. Oh, I'm reading like William Shatner. Ugh. All items acquired during scavenging should be placed on the findings pile space. At the end of the scavenging phase, you will decide what to leave behind and what to bring back to the shelter. When the unknown deck is depleted, exploration automatically ends. Resolve the chosen findings. So then it goes on to choose findings. Once you finish exploration, shuffle all exploration and resident cards into their deck. At this moment, you may add any resource, wood component, and water to the findings pile as you wish. That is really good because I didn't know how we would get water back. But you can put as many as you want into the findings pile that you have into the box, which separates everything. And you can take it back. So I know we're going to need water because we don't got any water left. Oh, where was I at? Oh yeah, you can bring back a total weight of tokens, resources including the equipment and weapons you brought with you equal to the total inventory of a character taking part in the scavenge. The weight of heavy tokens is shown in the weight icon. If a token does not have a weight icon, its weight is 0. Each one resource, water, wood component weighs 1. Everything you cannot carry and have to leave behind is discarded. Characters with their findings will make their way back to the shelter in the dawn phase. Before that, the night raid occurs. What does all that mean that I just read, like in a jumble? So what it means is you pick a location, and then you're going to draw the exploration cards. There's 14, so this is the exploration deck. I just drew the 14 cards. You place them face down without looking at them on the unknown part, which is right here. And then after you do that, then you're going to start flipping them over one at a time and resolving each card. Now, if there was more than one player, after you resolve one card, you pass the next resolve exploration card and keep going to the next player until you go through the whole deck. When you are done with that, you will find certain things that you can put in the findings pile. You know, each thing has a certain weight. So if you look at this shovel, for instance, that we took, it has in the weight icon a 1. So what that means is that it weighs 1. So it does weigh something. Now, if you look at your character cards down here, they have like inventory of 4, and it has a weight icon. Inventory of 3, inventory of 3. He stayed behind guard duty, so we're doing with these. So what they can totally carry back between the both of them is 4 plus 3, which is what? 7. That's right. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So anything that we find and it goes in the findings pile, we can take that has a weight value up to 7 back in the dawn phase. And that's all what that means. So let's start exploring to find out if we made anything, or we found anything, I should say, into the garage. So let's look at the card number 1 for exploring. Okay, it says map card. All right, so it's a map card. Let's see if we can get this in focus. It's kind of focusing on the board because it's bigger. There we go. So check the current location card for rubble. Yes, we have rubble on the current location card because if you look, there it is. So you can see it says bars and rubble. It's kind of like in a tan color in the upper right hand corner. So it's telling me that there's rubble there. So if there's rubble, which we do have rubble, it could mean trouble. Hope there's no trouble in the rubble. Yeah, poet and I didn't even know it. Yeah. Anyhow, So check your current location card for rubble. If there's no rubble, discard this card and draw a new card from the exploration deck. If there is rubble, you may resolve this card immediately or place it on the exploration shot and resolve it later instead of drawing a new exploration card. So with rubble, it says dig through requires a shovel. Return one exploration card, raise the noise by 1, and roll the noise. So that's what we got to do first. So I definitely want to search the rubble because we know that you can get some nice goodies in rubble. So we take one of our exploration cards from our unknown deck. We don't even look at it. And we place it on top of the exploration pile. So after we do that, we're going to have to raise the noise by 1. It tells me there. So we go here and we raise the noise by 1. So the noise is now 2. And now we have to roll for noise. Now it has to be equal or less than for it to trigger a resident. I have 5, so we're safe. So if we grab this card again, so nothing happened with the resident. It says raise the noise by 1 and roll the noise. After digging through, add 5 cards from the exploration deck to the unknown deck. Draw and resolve 2 finding cards, heap chart. Then discard this rubble card. Ooh. So I'm just going to place that here because it's not in the discard pile yet. This is the exploration slots. So I put that there and it says I have to draw 5 more cards from the exploration. So that one that I just got rid of, I'm going to get back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's probably a good thing to getting more exploration cards because it just gives us more time to search and build up what we can choose to take back to the colony. So I did that. After digging through, add 5 cards to the exploration deck, unknown deck, which you did. Draw and resolve 2 finding cards. You see 2 finding cards. So we're going to draw the first one. Make it a mess. And we got to resolve the heap chart. Ooh, so that says reality impact. There's no heap chart. What happens? Something unexpected has happened. Draw a card from the colors deck and determine the color on the script. I'm going to do this in sections for each card. So let's go over to the colors, draw a color deck and see what color it is. So this is the colors deck. We'll grab the first one and it is the color green. What that means, I don't know. I'm just going to lay it to the side for now. So it says color, then check the number with that color on the rare findings chart on the current location card. So this is your current location that we're on, and we have to check on to the rare findings. So this says exploration, and this is rare findings. So the green got a 45. Find the number in the book of scripts and resolve the corresponding text. Oh, so now we get to use the book of scripts, but because we're using the app, we're going to enter in 45 and see what it tells us. This is the app for the script, so let's enter in 4, 5, and then play. I'm going to read this and I'll be back. So I just briefly read through it and it sounds very promising. So I might as well just read it on camera. I'm not going to do this for everyone though. So it says admits loads of garbage, so underneath the garbage, junk and a variety of seemingly unrelated parts. We managed to find a box full of useful and familiar looking tools. The contents of the box are a dream come true for any handyman. Ooh, Marlon will probably like this. Write toolbox 45, III, or 111, on a blank token and place it on the findings pile. Treat it as a gray token with the value of 10 and a weight of 2. Toolbox. When crafting a fitting, you may cross out one line of the toolbox and ignore any mechanical part and electrical parts required for the construction of that fitting. When you cross out the last line, remove this token from the game. That's pretty cool, because pretty much what it's telling me is this toolbox we found has a multitude of parts. So whenever I'm going to build something like a bed or a fire or what have you, you can cross it out if it needs like electrical parts or whatever, and you don't have to have that into your storage to use, as long as you have that toolbox that has a multitude of different parts, which is really cool. That is a really, really, really good thing to find. I've always wondered what the blank tokens in the game were for, so now I find out. So on this blank token, I wrote down toolbox, the value of 2, or the weight of 2, it's in the circle up here, and it is 45, which is the script entry. It has 111, and the color is gray, and it has a value of 10. So that's what it is. So you take that and you put it in the findings pile. So that was a pretty good findings. But again, that was a reality impact card. So what happens after we do that part for the reality impact? Find that number in the book script and resolve the corresponding, which I did do. So the next thing that you have to do here, see if I can get it in focus. There we go. Afterwards, place this card under the current location card. When that location card is removed from the game, shuffle this reality impact card back into the findings deck. So this card is not discarded, it just goes with that location until the location is removed. Interesting. I'm really liking this game so far, I have to say. There's a lot to it, but it's living up to the stuff on the box, the text in the box saying, you know, you just open it up, you set it up, and you start playing, and it teaches you as you go along. Because I'm not running into any difficulties for this so far. Like, you don't really have to look up anything because everything is set out very clearly on both the cards, the journal entry book, and also the book of scripts. Very impressed so far there, 11-Bit Studio and Galacta. Very cool. I have to say, I'm looking forward to keep playing this game. From where I drew the colors card, after I revealed the color, I just shuffled the card back into the colors deck because just constantly keeps being recycled as far as I know, unless otherwise stated on the cards. We still have to grab the second findings card and go through the heap chart. So second findings card is right. Ooh, this is very colorful. So heap, it says mechanical part, shell, and weapon part. And then it also has a little black die right here. Oh, it's off camera. Little black die right here. And it says, then roll the black die for special findings and see the current location card for the results. Add the tokens to the finding pile. Afterwards, shuffle this card back into the findings deck. So now I'm going to grab my mechanical part, my shell, and my weapon part, and then roll the black die. There's my shell, mechanical part, and weapon part. Now again, this don't go into your story straight away. It goes into your findings pile because this is where you found stuff so far. So after we do that, then I have to roll the black die and determine from there what exactly I'm going to get from my special findings. Because if you look here, for special findings in the card, it tells you what you get after you roll. So I roll my black die and I get an 8. So from here, 8 to 9, it's a weapon part. So I get another weapon part put in the findings pile. I also shuffled that card back into the findings pile like it told me. And then with this one here, discard this rubble card. So I did everything on here. I take this and I put it in the discard pile. Now we keep going on to the exploration for the next one, because we got a little pile of cards here to do. Oh, poke about. You may ignore this card or poke about. Return one exploration card or roll for noise. To choose one findings from the special findings chart for this location. Okay, so I got a choice here I can make. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my exploration cards and discard it, and then I'm going to be able to choose what I want. And what I'm going to choose is choose one of my findings. I don't have to roll for it, it says choose. So looking at this, number 10 is a saw blade. And we definitely need a saw blade because when it comes back to the day phase, I'm going to want to try to cut them bars. So because of that, I'm just going to choose the saw blade. There's the solid blade. I put it in the findings pile. Now, if you notice, I have a circle value of 5, which is what it's worth, but it don't have any weight value, so that can be taken for free if I succeed. So we're on to more of the exploration stuff, because this here is done. So I take this and I put it in the discard, and I choose the next exploration. Now, I got a door which is peeked through the keyhole. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the camera. I'm going to go through all of these. If something really major happens, even though these are very significant, I'm just trying to cut down the time of this video, because it's probably going to be a long video anyhow, because we got to go through 3 chapters with different events. In any case, once I either finish this, I'm going to come back and show you what the results are of everything that happened. Or if something, I draw a card that is like major, then what I will do is I'll record again. Still going through the exploration cards. I picked up this one. This I thought was kind of significant here to read. So it states, you may ignore this card or return 2 exploration cards to save it and use it anytime during the scavenging phase. Hiding place. After rolling for noise, you may discard this card to ignore an encounter, do not draw a resident card, or perform a backstab. See Journal Combat Sheet for description. So this here is a really good card to have for hiding place. So I'm going to keep it. So I'm sliding it over there, but I have to discard 2 exploration cards. So I take 1. And again, I'm not looking at them. I don't supposed to look at them. It just, you discard them. And that's it. So I'm going on because I still have a stack of cards there for the exploration, but I'm keeping that for future use. Another card that was drawn was Reality Impact. Something unexpected has happened. Draw a card from the colors deck to determine the color of the script. Then draw a card from the exploration deck and check the number with that color. Find the number in the book of scripts and resolve the corresponding text. So I drew obviously another green. When I say obviously, I mean like I just grabbed the top card after mixing it in. I was lucky or unlucky, I don't know, but it's green. So then I drew an exploration card. I just stuck it here because it's got to be discarded after done. But I don't do this. The only thing I do is, if you can see the colors, so it says 767. So then I went to the book of scripts, and 767 pretty much a wall collapsed, and it revealed some like a garden of vegetables cultivating, and that's food which can definitely help us. So I have 2 choices I can make here. True, we hate thieves when it comes to our house, but well, and then you can see 1859, or I can choose we don't steal from someone's garden, which obviously requires a lot of work back to game. But I'm thinking we should try to steal, so C 1859. Let's see what this said. Quickly and with the stabbing feeling of guilt and shame, we pull the various bulbs and tubers from the ground, not even checking what they are. Only after getting far away do we crouch down, hidden in some ruins, and check. A strange variety of carrot, a bit frozen by the unusual early snow and frost, but still edible. Choose one character present and roll the black die. Compare the result with the character's empathy. A result that is equal or lower than the empathy, raise misery by 1. Add 5 vegetables to the findings pile. That is because vegetables, it's food, it's going to sustain the quality that we have. So I have to pick one of them. I have to roll the black die, and the result is equal or lower to their empathy, raises the misery by 1. I'm going to pick Pav because he's one of the searching, and his empathy is 6. So I'd have to roll equal or lower than empathy and raise the misery by 1. Actually, no. I'm going to pick Katya because her empathy is 7. So equal or less than, and I get the vegetables. 5. So I get equal or less than, obviously. So I raise the misery by 1 and add 5 vegetables to the finding. So that was a good find, but again, we feel guilty for stealing from somebody else's garden. So that's why the misery goes up with Katya. That is the 5 vegetables. So we put them in the findings pile, such as that. And her misery goes up by 1. She didn't have misery, so it's 1, but it don't look like any impact except for having misery. So that is what happened there. We're going to continue on and hopefully see if we get any luck with anything else. This just happened. So we drew a reality impact from the unknown deck, and we read the script and so forth. First we had to pick a color. We got a black one, which was 178, which we went to, and then we had a choice. What it was there was a older boy and a younger boy. They had a gun, and we either could just leave them alone or, you know, say like, hey, don't shoot the younger boy or don't shoot the older boy, and try to stop them. So, you know, good Samaritan as I am, I tried to stop with Pav. Well, Pav tried to stop, and the boy kind of turned his attention to us and shot, and poor Pav get hit and takes 1 wound. So that's not a good thing at all. That's gonna slow him down and hurt him. So this is excuse me, this is not a good thing. I'm starting to cough. Pav is starting to cough. I'm shot. But it tells you right in the script that he gets shot in the knee. Help. Poor Pav. Now, Pav got a special ability that says fleet of foot. When Pav is in a group, Pav is in the group fleeing from combat, reduce the number of backstab wounds by 2, but there's no fleeing or backstab thing. Pav just gets shot in the knee, and that's all what happened. So Pav takes a wound. Very poor Pav. I'm sorry. That's what you get for being a good Samaritan, though, really. Still going through the exploration deck, we find a private card, and this states, you may ignore this card or search the heap. Return 2 exploration cards and raise the noise by 1, or raise the noise by 1 and roll for noise. To draw and resolve 1 card from the findings deck, heap chart. Now we already know that the heap cards in the finding are good, so we can find some lovely stuff. We're already starting to accumulate a lot of stuff in our findings pile. So I only have a couple of exploration cards left. I don't really want to go through them, so I think I'm going to just raise the noise by 1 and roll. So throughout the, we discover we'd have to raise the noise and go down up the noise and then roll and everything. So we raise it by 1 because it was already on 1, and we roll. We have to get 2 or lower to trigger resident, but we don't. We get a 5, so we're fine. So now I got a findings card from the heap, and we already did the noise, so I'm just putting that back down. So findings it is, and we search the heap part. So the heap part is a book and 2 mechanical parts. On top of that, then I roll a black die and find out what I find in the special findings. So I will grab those, but I'm going to roll a black die now, and I get a 1. And in the special findings, I find nothing. You can see right there. But I still get a book and 2 mechanical parts to add to the findings pile. There's the book and the 2 mechanical parts. That is to the findings pile. Now, we only have like 3 more exploration cards by the looks of this. So I'm going to go through these again. I'll be back if something big happens. If not, then, I'll be back when exploration cards are all done. So anyhow, this here is thrown into the discard pile right there. The one thing I want to take note of is when these are discarded into here, they're not gone at the game. After you're all done, and then when the scavengers come back to the compound, these get shuffled back into the exploration deck. That ends the exploration of the known deck. And again, what I did is after that, I took the discard, shuffled them, mixed them back up, and put them back in the exploration deck. So that is it. I have a pile of loot there that I can take back, but I can't take anything back yet because I'm going to have to choose the findings of what I want according to the weight. And after that, then it's going to be the night raid. So I'm going to separate this and see what I can take and what I can't take. And then I'll be back to show you what I decided. Now remember, I have a total weight of 7 inventory that I can take back. What you can see here, so I separated everything into point value and decided what I'm taking back and what I'm leaving behind. So all the upper stuff right here, this has no weight to it. So the weight is 0. So because of that, I'm definitely leaving that. So now if you look down here, I have to decide what I want to take back and what I want to leave. So this is the 2 value. That's a 1, so that's 3, that'd be 4, 5, that would be 6, 7, and leaving 2 mechanical parts and a moonshine left. But the problem with that is I still have to be able to feed my colony and give them water. Water is more important, and each water is worth 1 point. So I at least should take back 3 water. So let's count out 3 points from this that I have to get rid of. So let's get rid of 1 mechanical part. 1 weapon. I need the shovel still. So that's 2 water. You know what? Let's get rid of this other weapon part. So there, I'm going to take back 3 water, 1 mechanical part, my shovel, and the toolbox. And that will be a total of 7 weight. Plus all of the free stuff that I get. That's everything I'm going to take, and that's what I'm leaving behind. So because I discarded this, I'm just taking all of this and I'm putting it back into the box, into the appropriate section. But before I come back with the scavenging party, the night raid has to come in, and they're going to go after Marin. I hope nothing happens to Marin and they don't take any of the stuff I have here. For the night raid part, let's look in the book for that one. According to the book for the night raid, it says choose a weapon for the guard. I don't have any weapons in my story, so that don't happen. But for night raid, it says draw and resolve the top card from the night raid deck. Damage, the amount of stolen tokens, resources that must be discarded from the storage. The weapons used by the guard remain safe. Wounds, the amount of wounds that must be distributed between the characters on the guard space. It says read below on how you can minimize damage and wounds. So there's rolling and everything else you can do, but I'm just going to draw the top card from the night raids, and then we'll just move on from there. With the night raid card, it says starving people. The damage is any 4 tokens or resources, starting with green tokens. And on top of that, it's wounds. You suffer 1 wound. After, shuffle this card back into the Raiders deck. So that is what happens on the night raid to poor Merlin. This little subtext right here in the book, it says guards and weapons. So read below on how you can minimize damage and wounds. So guards and weapons. Roll a combat die corresponding to the weapons used for each character on the guard space. So there's only 1. Marin is on there. So he's got no weapons on him though, so he has no weapon, so it's a gray die that he's going to have to roll. So when he rolls, it's going to have to, the number of icons shown on the rolled die indicates the amount that is subtracted from the suffered damage, tokens, resource, or wound. So I'm going to roll this, hopefully we'll get lucky. With the gray die, you can see there's a 1 fist, 2 fist, and you have like one of these things, which probably means nothing. So let's see if we can get anything. So 2 icons is rolled. So therefore, he loses, he don't have to do 2 of them. So I think I can choose between what I don't want to give him. Because pretty much this simulates Marin's battle with whoever's trying to raid. So he pretty much punched out 2 of them and stopped 2 of them from taking 2 items. This squiggly little mark onto the combat die for no weapons, I just checked in the book, and it's a combat scripts. If this icon is rolled on a combat die, yours or enemies, you must choose if it is a miss or if you trust fate. If you opt for fate, draw a fate card and check the color of the combat die icon on the card. If it matches the color of the combat die rolled, resolve the text below the combat die icon. Otherwise, this roll is a miss. So that's what that icon, but because I rolled a 2 fists, which is the highest you can get, I successfully beat 2 of the raiders off, and they take 2 less things from the colony. What we have in storage though, as you can see, I have lots of wood, I have lots of components, and I have 2 lock picks. But in here, what happened is it's 4 tokens or resources starting with the green one and 1 wound. So I guess I can pick and choose what to use and what not to use. So Marin, is that his name? Marin, yes, Marin, M-A-R-I-N, is not going to take the wound, and he is going to not let them take one of these things, the cogwheels, the components. So therefore, they take only 3 resources, and it starts with the green. These are not the green, so it's just the resources. So they take these wood. I have lots of wood. So that is going 4 tokens. So no, 2 of these they take. Sorry, because I was able to successfully block 2. So it's 5 in total. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was right the first time. So I'm letting them take the 3 wood, which is no big deal because I have lots of wood in my storage, as you can see right there. And I have that. And that concludes the night raid. One thing I'd like to add to this night raid is I forgot all about, because I just read in the book, not that I forgot, but the prowess. So Marin has prowess of 1. So when he rolled a combat die, if he got a blank, then he gets to roll that many amount of times that his prowess is. So he has once to be able to roll it once. But he got the highest, which was the 2. So because of that, he got lucky. And focus, I got lucky too. There you go. So he fended off, like I said, 2 of them. So he kind of slowed them down. So the next part of the night raid is a crime wave. So the night raid and resident cards at the red corner were set aside. So remember I said that I set resident cards and night raid cards aside. So this signifies the crime wave part. So I got to shuffle 2 cards of any combination into the night raids and the residents. So I can put 1 in 1, or 2 in night raids, or 2 in residents, or whatever I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 1 resident. And I'm going to shuffle it there. I'm using 1 hand so I can't shuffle it on camera. I'm grabbing a night raid card. These are apparently supposed to be worse cards, the ones that are left out. So therefore the crime wave, then I shuffle them, and then that ends the, you can see the crime wave explained in the next player. That ends the night raids, and it's on to the dawn. So I'm going to shuffle that and come back to the dawn explanation. The last part of the first chapter for pretty much the first event card that was drawn, and then it's the dawn, and then we go back to the day phase, and so on and so forth. So in here it says the scavenging party returns. Move all the characters in the scavenging party to the shelter and place all the tokens and resources they bought back to the storage. Assign meds and bandages. If there are any meds, herbal meds, bandages in the storage, you may assign them to the ill. Wound it by placing them on the chosen character's card. Then you draw a fate card, and draw and resolve 1 fate card, ignoring the bottom part marked with a die. When a fate card tells you to exchange the location card, remove that card from the game, then slide the remaining location cards down so that the far space is empty. Finally, draw a new location and put it in the far space. Then you give it to the next player, and then narrative action card. Draw 2 narrative action cards, read them, choose 1, and shuffle the other back into the deck. That is it for that part, so I'm going to do that, and I will be back. All the characters are back. They took all their findings, they separated them all just to make it a little more organized. I drew the fate card, and this is what the fate card tells us. Raise the wounds of all wounded unbandaged characters by 1. So I don't have any bandages or anything, so any wounds get raised by 1. So poor Pav, he gets wounds raised up to 2 now. But nobody else, as you can see, is wounded, so just Pav got his wounds raised. Also, it says, lower the illness of all characters who took meds. I don't have any meds, so because of that, I can't lower them. Discard med tokens of all characters. I didn't have any, so that's fine. If cold tokens minus board ups equals 2 or more, raise the illness of 2 chosen characters by 1. So I only have 1 cold token. I don't have any board ups. So if cold tokens minus board up, so 1 minus 0 equals 1. So 2 more erased, so nothing happens there too as well. Exchange the nearest small location. If there is none exchanged, the nearest medium location. Resolve weight tokens. Weight tokens. I don't have any weight tokens as well. Resolve spirit B of all character cards. Afterwards, shuffle this card back into the fate deck. And this says weapons lost. The weapon is lost until the end of the combat. This combat fight is unarmed, but it says so ignore that part for the fate part for this. It said in the book. So all I have to do now then is resolve the weight tokens. I don't have any. I have to move the locations around, which it did explain in the book. I'll do that and I'll show you how you do that. And then I have to do the spirit B. So we're just going to stick that here. So with these weight locations, you can see here that this here is the medium, and small. So we do have a small, so this location is gone. And then we take another location and we replace it. And we get an old tail and it's large. So that looks like a pretty good one to go and investigate maybe on our next scavenging. Who knows? So anyhow, that is how you do the locations. If it was here, we would take that off, slide these down if that one is gone, and then we put another one in. But the small was up top, so we just get rid of it when we put one there. And that's how we do for the locations. And the last thing to do is resolve Spirit B on all character cards. So, if you look at all these cards, they have Spirit A, B, and C. So, for Pav, his Spirit B is if Pav is wounded level 2 or 3, raises misery by 1. So he is wounded by 2. So he gets 1 misery on top of his hunger and fatigue and wounds already. Pav is really not looking too well there at all. He's in trouble and he's the leader. Like, this is horrible. So moving on, let's go to Katya's B for spirit. If there is a guitar in storage, lower one chosen character's misery by 1, but we don't have a guitar in storage, so nothing happens with her. Going on to Marin for his A and B, it's combined habit. Discard 1 coffee from storage or raise Marin's misery by 1. Oh boy, so if we don't have any coffee, he's going to go up in misery. So luckily for us though, we do, we have coffee right here. So we discard 1 coffee and he is fine for another day to function because without his coffee, he's very cranky. And that pretty much ends the that part of the dawn phase. The last thing to do after drawing the fate token is a narrative action card. Draw 2 narrative action cards, read them, choose 1, and shuffle the other back into the deck. I'm going to do that and come back. This is the narrative action cards you can see there. Now I drew 2, I picked one that I wanted, which is the one in my hand, and I put the other one in here and I shuffled. So I'm going to show you the one that I picked. I'm not even going to go over the other one, but pretty much the other one said that I can look at 2 cards on a specific amount of decks and then return them back. So pretty much like a peekaboo where I can peek at the cards. But this one, however, says duty. Duty. Play during the day action phase. Raise 1 chosen character's fatigue by 1 to automatically remove 1 rubble remnants card without losing an action. So this is kind of like a free action of removing a rubble. So if we look on the board here, we have a rubble here, so we can pretty much do a free action of removing that one. We also have 2 lock picks, so even if we pick the lock and then we could do that and we can get to the heap. So we have lots of choices with this narrative action card. So I'm just going to stick it here for now. Now, what's remaining onto this fate card is the very last one, which is to shuffle this card back into the fate deck. And that's it. So that is the first round or first event gone through from chapter 1. And that's going from, okay, I'm going back in the book. Yes, I am. So going from morning to day action to dusk to evening to scavenging to night raid and then to dawn. And then after that, it's just repeats itself where you go back to the morning. And that's it. So I'm not going to cut this video off, though I want to go through an entire game of this, but I'm probably going to do this again in sections of how much I'm going to put on the video, how long I want the video to go through. If it's only going to be 45 minutes per video, if it's going to be 2 hours per video, or maybe like a 3-hour video. I don't know, I have to decide that. After I start editing, I will check. So you may see that this is the end of the game for video 1 onto video 2, or we're going to keep continuing on. In either case, I'm going to play through all of this because I really am enjoying this game. And I have to say, it is definitely living up to my challenge of, can you start playing this without knowing anything about the game and be successful, as in not being confused in how to play the game. And I'm not confused at all when I'm playing this game. This is pretty self-explanatory. The cards tell you everything. The journal tells you everything too as well, and then following the scripts, which is great. So having said that, I'm just going to pause the video right now, either to cut it for the next video series or to get ready for the morning. So hang on to your hats, Board Game Maniacs, and we'll see what it is. Well, hello there. Glad you stuck around. If this is split up into the second, if this is the beginning of the second video, check out the first one before you watch this one, because it does explain how each of the rounds go. If not, you can go ahead and keep watching this if it's attached to the first video, or even if it's the second video. It's so confusing. Not the game, I'm confusing. I'm confusing. Anyhow, so we're on to the second round, which is, we went through every action, as I said in the last clip, and we're back to the morning. Now with the morning, what we have to do, it's an event. I have to draw and resolve the top card from the event deck. That is the first thing we have to do. So here's the event deck. I'm going to pick it up and we're going to see what it is. Bad news. Raise all characters' misery by 1. That is bad news for sure. And I have to add 1 cold to the cold space. I don't like that. It's really bad news. I don't like it at all. But anyhow, yeah, we got to raise these characters' misery by 1 and add 1 to the cold space. There's the second cold icon to the cold space. And now we have to do misery by 1 for every character. So this misery goes up to 2. Oh, but he's still got 3 actions. Pretty good. He's a leader, that's why. And her misery is going up by 1. She still has 3 actions. But, you know, you can tell here with the black space that we don't have 3 actions. And he don't have a misery. So that means he's going to get 1 misery. I'm off camera there because I reached into the box. But there's the misery right here. So there you go. That's his 1 misery. So that is the morning event. Now, after you draw and resolve that, then you pass to the next player, but I'm the next player, and we're going to go through our day actions. We have to decide what we're going to do, and why is the good question. Why are we doing that? For the day actions, not 100% sure what we're going to do yet, but do remember that we do have this narrative action card, which is Duty. Play during the day action phase. Raise 1 chosen character's fatigue by 1 to automatically remove 1 rubble remnants card without losing an action. And then you have to, after playing this card, remove it from the game. So we do have that still that we can use. So we do have a saw blade. I'm thinking what we should do. Pav is kind of got a lot of stuff going on there, you can see. But anyhow, we're just going to keep moving further. So Pav, let's take Pav. He's going to go, so what he'd do is he'd go down here and here, because we do have a lot of resources left. We have our water and everything too as well. So yeah, Pav's going to go there for the bars. We have the other 2 left there, Marin and Katya. So I'm thinking we're going to take Marin, and he's going to just travel. He's going to stop here at the rubble. But what he's going to do is he's going to use the fitting and build something, because we need to get rid of some of these like fatigue and everything onto our character. So he's going to do that. But what we're forgetting what we have. It's this empty token we had to write on that we found in our scavenge from the night. It's a toolbox, and you go to script 45. What the toolbox is whenever it needs an electrical mechanical part, then what we do is we just scratch one of them 3 lines off of the token that I wrote there, and that counts as electrical, so I don't have to use the electrical parts. So that's a really good thing to have. You can see here, I just have the app up again. While crafting any fitting, you may cross out 1 line from the toolbox and ignore any mechanical part and electrical parts required for the construction of that fitting. When you cross out the last line, remove the token from the game. So, just a thing here is ignore any mechanical parts. Oh, any electrical parts. Well, I gotta put that back on. Sorry about that, guys. So, you ignore any electrical and mechanical, not parts required for the construction fitting. When you cross out the last line, remove the token from the game. So what that is telling me is that any mechanical part that I need, or electrical part, as it says, to build it, it's not just one, it's mechanical parts or electrical parts. So there's an S, it's plural, that I cross out one of them lines. So that's going to be really helpful. So I think I'm going to build something here. I'll be back when I decide what I want to build here. What Marin decided to do is he decided to build a bed to help everybody's fatigue, including himself. Which is, you could say it's, he's just looking out for himself, or he's actually looking out for the whole group. I think he's looking out for the whole group. So he's going to do this. To build this bed, I need 3 components and 4 wood. So you can see here, this is times 5, so I got 10 and 10, plus I have some wood and a component here. So I have more than enough to build a component, which I'm going to do. So after you build a bed, take a look at the reverse side of this. It says, take a nap. Lower the fatigue of the characters placed here by 2. Note, sleeping in the bed for the whole night removes all fatigue from a character, which is really good to get rid of all the fatigue. So that's what Marin's doing, is he's building a bed right here. And I'm going to remove the appropriate one. So I need to remove 3 components and 4 wood. There, he built the bed. Good job. You're a good garage owner for sure. And he has handyman too as well, which is nice. So I got to think too as well what Katya is going to do now. Katya. I don't know yet. Let me think on that. I think for Katya, what she's going to do is she's going to travel and go here, which is the lockpick. So we're still on their first action, but that's what they chose to do for the first action. So lockpick, built the bed, and he's gonna go cut the bars. So now let's resolve the lockpick first. For Katya to successfully pick the lock, you take a black die, you gotta roll it. You have to get a 4 or higher. So come on, do it. She gets a 5. Good job, Katya. You were successfully able to pick that lock. So she picked the lock, and she gets 3 wood. And then it says, add these to the storage and remove this card from the game. Good job, Katya. You picked the lock and you got us 3 wood. You're in for the team. I know you are. And there's the 3 wood. So we're almost up to the wood that we spent so far. Now let's go on to the cutting the bars. So we have to have a saw blade, which is right here. Now with the saw blade, you don't have to roll anything with the saw blade. As far as I can tell, I just looked in the book and I couldn't see anything else about the saw blade. So I'm thinking if you got the saw blade, it's just an automatic cut through. And for the lockpick, he just, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. I was just on him like 2 seconds ago. So there's the lockpick. He used the saw blade. Now, gotta pick up this card. It's really hard to pick it up. So it says, you gain 3 components to a mechanical part. Nice. Add these to the storage to remove this card from the game. So this gets removed. And I get 3 components and 1 mechanical part. Good job. Good job. I know you're the boss. You're the leader for a reason. And that's it for the first action for all three of them, because we still have Marin. He's on the bed here. Now he can take a nap. That might be for his second action so that he can drop his fatigue, or I might see if someone else there has higher fatigue. In any case, that's our first action. We're on to the second action for the group. For the second action, let's go to Katya first. So she picked that door, so she's going to go here to dig through the rubble. Now, it's going to take two actions, even with the shovel, because she digs through the rubble and then it's rubble remnants, but I'm going to put the shovel there. That's what she's going to do for hers. So for Marin here, he's not in that bad shape. So I'm thinking what he's going to do for his second action, he's going to move down here and he's going to go to the furniture to search. You can see right there, that's where he is. So for the boss, Pav, now he has 1 hunger, 1 fatigue, 2 wounds, and 2 misery. So he's going to keep going up. I think we should try to get rid of his fatigue at least. That's what I'm thinking here. So he may go up and take a nap in the bed so he can remove his fatigue. That is the 3 actions, so we're just going to resolve them. So let's go to Marin here first. So he's going to search the furniture. Ooh, he gets some lovely stuff here. He gets 1 med, 1 herb, 1 mechanical part, 2 water, and 1 wood. This is a really good thing to have for sure. Add these storage and then remove this card from the game. So I'm going to do that and I'll come back. As you can see, we're stacking some good stuff up here. This is great. So we do have some more herbs and we got a major med. So I'm thinking what might be a good idea is we have that med so we can either cure Pav, or heal Pav I should say, or we can take the med and put it here to help everybody, because remember, we have to start getting to 3. That's one of the main objectives that we have to complete. Oh, this is very compelling. I don't know what to do. But in any case, let's keep going on here. So Pav, he's up in the bed. He takes a rest. So he removes 2 fatigue. So when you flip this around, there's 1 fatigue, 2 fatigue. So that's just gone. He's got no more fatigue, which is going to be really good for when it comes to the night for the scavenging. And now she is going to start the shovel for digging through. Requires a shovel or requires 2 characters. So she started digging through, which is good, but we started, which ain't too bad, I guess. And that's it for the I'm just removing that card. It tells me that. That is it for the second part of the action phase. Now, since we did the day action, we're going to have to go on to the dusk phase. You can see here in the book. Dusk. And that's what we're on next. They're all back at the guard station preparing to find out who's going to go on to the night raid, or not night raid, who's going to scavenge at night and who's going to stay back and guard. So before we do that, we have to resolve the dusk part. So each character must drink 1 water. So let's do that first. You can see I have plenty of water here. There's 3 characters. So 3 water is gone. If, for instance, we didn't have enough water for everybody, you're going to have to roll a black die for each character that's not able to drink a water. And if they roll 1 to 5, you raise their hunger by 1. If you roll a 6 to 10, you raise their misery by 1. But we didn't have to do that, so they're safe there for their water. The next thing is we have to feed each of them. So each character should eat 1 or more food. I'm reading this right in the book, just so that I'm very clear on this. I know we did this for the first part of the video. This is the second part now. So 1 canned food lowers their hunger by 2. 1 raw food lowers their hunger by 1, and vegetable just sustains their hunger, so they don't lose any, they don't go up any, they just sustain it exactly where they are. But if there's no food, you have to raise their hunger by 1. And that is how you do for the food. So let's take a look here and see what we have that we can give so that we can maybe, oh boy, we got no canned food. We got no raw food. But we do have vegetables. So because of vegetables, One vegetable will keep their hunger exactly the same, so it will not go up and it will not go down, and that's what I'm doing. I have enough here for the 3 of them. That ends the dusk phase, and we're on to the evening phase. So again, what we can do in the evening phase is either sleep in the bed, sleep on the floor, do guard duty, or scavenging. If you sleep in the bed, one character, you're going to lose all of your fatigue. If you sleep on the floor, you lower the character's fatigue by 2. Guard duty, you are going to get 1 fatigue, but you are guarding, so when the night raid happens, it's going to lessen the chance of them stealing anything. We already seen from the first night raid that they did steal a couple of things, but Mern was there and he was able to fend off 2 of them, which was really good. And also the scavenging. So we can place up to 3 characters in the finding pile space so we can do the scavenging, but they also get a fatigue because they are not sleeping at night, they are going out to scavenge. So I don't think we can really afford to get any of them to stay back and sleep. So one of them has to go on guard duty and 2 is going to scavenge. So Pav, he has no fatigue, so he's going to go here because, you know, he's Pav and he can do that sort of stuff. And he's going to get 1 fatigue, and now I have to decide if Katya or Mern is going to be on guard duty. Katya has the ability for trading, which is a really good thing because it lowers the commission to 0, so you don't have to pay for any trading. So I think I'm going to bring her back out with me, and Mern's going to stay there for guard duty, but all 3 now will get a fatigue. There's the character's fatigue, so Pav goes up 1 fatigue. He didn't have any, but now he's got fatigue because he lost it. Katya's got 2 fatigue now, and Mern's got 2 fatigue. So they're getting pretty tired because they're pulling an all-nighter, 24 hours, you know, that sort of thing. So now we went on to the evening phase, and the next thing we do is, let's turn the page. You'll probably hear the page turning. And we are onto the scavenging. So first thing in scavenging we have to do is choose a location. Choose 1 of 3 available locations. So let's do that. The next thing we're going to do is choose equipment on what we want to take with us to that location. After that, we have to set the noise marker to space 0, or 1, which it already is at. You can see right there. On top of that, then we'll pick a location. We will go there. We will pull the exploration cards and put them into the unknown deck so that we can do the exploration and see what happens, because I hope that we don't get hurt really bad, especially Pav, because he's got 2 wounds already, which is not a good thing. For locations, we have the old town, the church, and the garage. So I'm not sure exactly what we should search, but we did search the garage already. You can see there's a card here, the reality impact that we did, so it's kind of sustained there because the reality impact is not usually a good card, is what I could tell from the last one. And you can see the 14, that's 14 exploration cards, 12 and 10. But I think we're going to go to the old town, just, you know, because we can. And I want to go to the old town because we may find a couple of special things like moonshine, chems, and vegetables. Now on this space we have rubble and a jammed door, so we can pick things that we want to take with us. Now also too as well, on the cards, what are pretty handy, it's on the space right here. Let me see if I can turn that around so you can take a look. It says return 2 exploration cards to have a look around the area, and then you see 829 into the journal script. So you can do that too as well. And on top of this, it says return 6 exploration cards to trade, C55. Return 3 exploration cards to socialize with people. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and all of them have different options for each location. But we are going to go to the old town. Now I'm going to grab the 10 exploration cards, put them in the unknown pile stack, and then I'll be back. There we have it. The exploration cards are put in the unknown part, and there's 10 of them. And just so everybody is aware again, I keep saying this, but I want to just keep repeating certain things so everybody knows. So it's 10 cards, 10 exploration cards you use into the unknown deck. So Before I do anything in this old town, I'm thinking I really want to look around. And as a little side text here on the card says, return 2 exploration cards to look around the area. And then you see 829 in the journal, the book of scripts, I should say. Because of that, so 2 exploration, so you don't look at them, you just take 1 and 2, and then we go to the app, to the book or the book of scripts, so that we can find out what we're looking around at. So we're here with the app, so let's go 8, 2, 9, and play. Oh, roll a black die, a result of 1 to 5, and it gives you all the different scenarios for it. So let's roll a black die and see what happens. So back over to our little handy dandy dice rolling box. 8. So 8, 9. So let's click on that. I'm kind of nervous here now. Come on. The reinforced door and recent boot prints indicate some people have chosen this building as a refuge before it was hit by a shell. Raise the noise by 4. Oh no, that's what you get for looking around, I guess. So back to game. So I got to raise the noise by 4. So automatically 1, 2, 3, so it goes to 5 because it was already on 1. Automatically we get that, and I forgot to say what they're going to take with them. So let's figure out what materials they're going to take. So we have rubble, so we should take a shovel. Jam door, we should take a lockpick. Maybe we'll take something to sell too as well, or trade in case we come across some residents. I'm not going to take anything else. I'm just going to leave it exactly like that. Just a shovel and a lockpick. So now we're going to go on and we're going to do the exploration cards and see what we can find. First exploration card is hiding place. You may ignore this card or return 2 exploration cards to save it and use it anytime during the scavenging phase. I get the hiccups. Hiding place. After rolling for the noise, oh geez, these hiccups gotta go. You may discard this card to ignore an encounter, do not draw a resident card, or perform a backstab. See Journal Combat Sheet for description. Let's look at the Journal Combat Sheet for description of the backstab, and we'll decide from there. In the journal, you can see it says journal. The last page, it has like your combat data sheet and everything. So with backstab, it says, unlike normal combat, during a backstab, only one side attacks, only the characters or only the enemies, and the other side cannot retaliate, resolving the attack roll as if in normal combat. In case of performing a backstab from a hiding place, see the hiding place card in the exploration deck after a backstab is resolved. And if any enemies are still alive, regular combat begins. So that's what backstab means. So you can try to do a backstab while you're in a hiding place, and then after that is done, if any enemies are still alive, then you just combat as normal, because once you hit them, they're going to know where you are from your hiding place. That is backstab. I think what I'm going to do, I don't have a lot of exploration cards left because I already get rid of 2 so I can look around. And you know, with this here, I'm going to get rid of 2 again because this is a good card, so I'm going to put that to just to hang on to. And I got to return 2 exploration cards, which I'm going to do. So that's 1 and that's 2. This may be a very short-lived scavenge, but sometimes short-lived may be good because then it's less chance of encountering anybody and having to fight. So I'm just keeping that hiding place just for safekeeping for now. So let's keep going on with the exploration. The next exploration card is, you may ignore this card or search for furniture. Return 2 exploration cards or raise the noise by 1 and roll for noise. To draw and resolve 1 card from the findings deck. Ooh. Our noise is already up to 5, so I don't know if I want to chance that, because if I roll for noise and I fail, then a resident is going to come out and we don't know if he's going to be good or bad. They're mostly all bad because they're hiding out, you know. They're trying to survive as much as we are. So, you know, that's what I'm going to do is just going to get rid of 2 of these till I can go into the findings pile, into the furniture part. Maybe we'll get lucky. I get rid of 2 of the exploration cards, and I grab the findings card and I flip it over and look at the furniture one, which is right here. And it tells me I get vegetable, herb, and bandages. We definitely need bandages. And then I got to roll a black die and see what else I can get, which is really good. So I'm going to do this and I'll come back and tell you what I get. There's the 3 things I scavenged so far from the furniture. Now I got my black die and I'm going to roll to see what I get. So it's an 8. So the way you find that out for the special findings, you look on the card and it says special findings right here. So 8 to 10, I get a vegetable, so you get an extra vegetable, which is really good because it will sustain the hunger for the colony. There's the other vegetable. So after you do this, we take this, it tells us, and we shuffle it back into the findings pile. And then this one here is discarded over here. So let's do that. What I did is I drew the next exploration card. You can see I only have 1 left because I burnt through a lot because I was hopefully getting stuff, but I shouldn't have looked around, but I did. Oh well. So I get this here was the basement entrance. It's a map card. Check the current location for a basement entrance. If there is no basement entrance, discard this card and draw a new card from the exploration deck. So I do know that there's no basement entrance into the old town because it would say it up here, but we have rubble and jammed doors. So because of that, this gets discarded and we get another one from here. Oh, tough luck, roll for noise. That's not a good thing. So we may see some residents popping their heads. We're at 5. So we gotta get, you know, higher than 5. I got a 10. That was total luck. But what's really good about this is because we tested our noise. Every time you test for noise and, you know, you resolve it, then it drops back down again. So that's a good thing. We're back down to 1. That 1 card that I got about the raising the noise kind of gave me some trouble. And then this one tried to give me trouble too as well, but I succeeded. So it's the last card for the exploration and for the scavenging. Ooh, so this is a private card. It says, search the pantry, return 2 exploration cards. I can't do that. Or raise the noise by 1 and roll for noise to draw and resolve 1 card from the findings. But we did reduce the noise to 1, so I'm gonna do that because why wouldn't I? So 2, whoa, that was so close. If I got a 1, I would have failed. Like, that is so close. So because of that, I'm going to search the findings for the pantry because it does say return 2 exploration cards or raise the noise and roll to draw and resolve 1 from the findings deck pantry chart. So that's what I'm going to do and I'll be back. What I got was, you can see here, the pantry. So it's vegetables and cigarettes that I roll, and for the special findings again. This ain't too bad, I have to say. And when I'm done with that, I got to just shuffle this back in, so we're going to do that. I returned the findings, shuffled it, I put the exploration card into the discard, which means my scavenging is over because I don't have no more cards to do. I placed everything here and then I rolled and I compared it to the special findings. I got a 5, 5, 6 as a chem, so there's my chem right there. And that is it for the scavenging part. So while this thing's going on, there's also the night raid that happened. So we're going to have to resolve the night raid. So Marin hopefully will be able to fend some more stuff off. Let's find out. For the night raid, we're going to draw a night raid card. Now, before I look at this card, if there was any weapons that was into my storage, I could assign it to Marin to give him a bonus if he has to fight anybody. But there's no weapons, unfortunately. He's going to do fisticuff, just like he did last time, but he fended off 2, which was great. So let's look at the night raid, its reality impact. Something unexpected has happened. Draw a card from the colors deck to determine the color of the script. Then reveal the top card from the night raid deck and check the number with that color on it. Find that number in the book of scripts and resolve the corresponding text. Afterwards, shuffle this card back into the Night Raid deck. Lovely. So I got to go to my colors, and I got to grab a colors, and it's gray. So then we go to another Night Raids, and we resolve 755. Get in focus. There we go. 755. This is a memories thing. This don't look good at all. But we don't do that. We just go to 755, which is fine. So I'll be back to see what the script will say for 755. 755. It reads as follows. It didn't take more than a few seconds, and they were inside. The combatants entered our house as if it were their own. Uh-oh. This isn't going very well already. There was no point of resisting. There were too many of them, and they were too well armed. We could read a clear message in their eyes. Don't cause any trouble. Move even a finger, and it will be the last mistake you ever make. Uh-oh. So Marin, you gotta freeze, buddy, because if not, you're toast. They were looking for weapons and ammo, anything that could help them fight the better equipped forces of their side, of other side. Discard all weapons and ammo from the storage, as well as weapons and ammo used by the character on the guard. So I got to get rid of any weapons or ammo in the storage, and any on the guard. So let's see what we have. You see, Marin has no weapons at all. He's unarmed, and he's frozen stiff because he don't want to be dead. No way. He may be a good fighter, but he's not that good to fight off all of them. And then we come over to our storage, and we see here that we don't have any weapons, but we do have some ammo. We have one shell. Like a shotgun shell. So that gets, they steal that. So they didn't really raid too bad, because that wasn't that bad at all, actually. They took one shotgun shell. Oh, no big deal. And that is it for the Night Raid part. Now we have to go on to the crime wave. We might look at board ups and that too as well first off. Let me check that out before we go on to the crime wave part of the Night Raid. Just to talk a little bit about the board ups, it says in the book, every built board up token subtracts either 1 wound or 1 damage. But I don't have any board up. I didn't do any board ups or anything, but that probably could help pretty good if I did, because then if I did get people to come and attack, the board ups will probably, help stop some stuff. Help stop the raiders from trying to get in to our compound. Just to touch upon the subject a little more about board ups before I go on anymore. I can't really find anything in the book about the board ups, but what I'm assuming what board ups are for is during the day phase where each of your characters have up to 3 actions, and that's all dependent on their cards, their stack cards that they have. But as one of the actions, what you could do is you could board up a hole, because on the board, if you look, you can see right here, there's a hole. So any hole means that the raiders can get in a lot easier. Here's another hole right here for boarding up. There's another hole right here. So because of that, I think you could spend 1 action to place a board up token onto these holes. The tokens look like this, board up. So just say for the day action, I'm going to put 1 there. So therefore, I boarded up 1 of the holes. And what that means is when it comes to the Night Raid phase, if you have anybody coming in to attack and you suffer 1 wound or damage, you can get rid of 1 of them board up tokens that are on the board, and to get rid of 1 of them, wounds or damage. That's what I am taking from this game for the board ups. If I am wrong, please, please, please comment down below in the comment section and let me know the proper way how to use the board ups. But until then, for this game, because I can't find anything in the book about it, that I'm going and playing it just like that for the board ups. And we're on to the crime wave part of the Night Raid. So with the crime wave, like I said before in the video, you were told to set aside cards that have they have like a different color in their corner of the card. The color of that card is red. Yep, red for the Night Raid and also for the resident card. So in the corner, they'll have a red with like an exclamation mark or something. So that's for when you're doing the Night Raid part and you're doing, I'm just flipping back through this just so I don't say it, the Crime Wave part of the Night Raid. So because of that, you can choose either 2 of these or 2 of these to shuffle into the decks, or you can choose 1 of each. So previously I did 1 of each. So I'm going to choose the Night Raid, and I'm going to choose another resident. And I'm going to shuffle these 2 and put them there. And that is the end of the Night Raid part of the second event of Chapter 1. Since we finished the Crime Wave, it says, next player. So you pass the book while I'm the only one player, and then continue to the Dawn phase. So with this Dawn phase, another day of survival. We must not give up. That's right, we won't give up. Not at all! So anyhow, woohoo! The scavenging party returns. Move all the characters in the scavenging party into the shelter and place all tokens, resources they brought back to the storage. Let's do that first. Now before we move them back, we have to find out. Now you're supposed to do this during the evening phase or the scavenging phase, but it don't really matter as long as you do this before you go back to the dawn phase. And as we talked about before, so we have Pav and we also have Katya here. So we have to look at how much inventory they can carry back themselves. So I'm just going to swing you over here. So you can see he has 4, Pav has 4 inventory, and she has 3. So that's a total of 7. Actually, yeah, it's 7. I can't add. I was going to say 8. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So that is the total amount that they can carry back with them. So when you go back over here, what I've seen, what's pretty helpful in another video when I was skimming through, is every one of these, if it gives any weight to it, it will tell you the weight. So like this, I already explained this during the video, but I'll go over it again. So the shovel has a weight icon of 1, so that weighs 1. So what I like to do is, if they don't have any weight, that means there's no weight to them. So I'm just separating all of these. So these don't have any weight. This has weight. So because we have a weight value of 7 with our 2 parties, we can carry back all of this stuff because that don't weigh nothing. It's only the shovel. That is really good. So we're going to return back to the guard shack with Marin, and then we are going to resolve the rest of it, which is like assigning meds and everything. One thing I forgot to mention, and it's good to take note of this, I did say this previously in the video, but I'm going to, again, repeat it one more time because I tend to forget, which I just did, so I want to do a recording of it, so I'll try not to forget next time. And that is, whenever you are returning the scavenging party with the stuff, you know, I said that they have a total weight of 7 that they can take back. The shovel is 1. So you can take back other, like, natural resources and everything, which is very common. So each water is 1. So the shovel was 1, 2, 3, 4, because I took 3 water because I have to make sure that they drink their water. 5, 6, 7, because each of these natural components or natural resources are worth 1 in weight. So I'm taking that back to the compound too as well. Whew, I almost forgot. That is the total of everything that we had in our storage plus what we scavenged. So we're getting pretty stacked, which is really good because we're going to need it. Hey, so we went scavenging. Yeah, we did. And what we found some pretty good things. What happened when we were gone away? Hopefully nothing really dangerous. Well, you see, really, there was like this large group of raiders come in, and they told me not to move or they would destroy me, so I just kind of froze, and I just let them just do whatever they wanted to do because I didn't want to die. What are you talking about? You just let them. I wasn't doing nothing. There were too many of them. Okay. That's all right, Marin.
What did they take? What did they take? Well, we were pretty lucky. All they wanted was weapons and ammo, and since we didn't have any weapons and we had one shotgun shell, that's all they took. That's awesome. Good job, Bird. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's good job. I'm using my Batman voice. That was the first part of the Dawn phase. The scavenging party returns. Next thing we're going to do is the assign meds and bandages. If there are any meds, herbal meds, bandages in the scavenging, you may assign them to the ill wounded by placing them in the chosen character cards. We do have some bandages, so I am definitely assigning that to Pav here because he has 2 wounds. And let's see, we don't have any herbals, but we do have a med. Maybe I'm not going to assign the bandages. Maybe we'll just assign the meds to him, because that will not stop him from injury. It will actually heal him, which is what we definitely need. But nobody else here has any wounds, so that's good. Oh boy. So on top of that, we do have some herbs, but not herb meds. And we also have bandages, but we don't have to assign any more bandages to anybody else. The next part of the Dawn phase is draw a fate card. Draw and resolve 1 fate card. Ignore the bottom part marked with a die. When a fate card tells you to exchange a location card, remove that card from the game, then slide the remaining location cards down so that the far space is empty. Finally, draw a new location for the location deck and place it on the far space. So we draw the fate card, and it is raise the illness of all characters who did not take any meds, herbal meds, by 1. Discard herbal med tokens from all characters. Raise all illness for all ill characters, but you can see not ill, and not ill, which is great. I think I kind of screwed up with the meds for illness. We'll see. So if I made a mistake, I know this is kind of cheating, but I'm going to cheat on camera. So if it's the bandages I need to put here instead of the meds. So actually, you know what? I'm going to take the bandages now and just put it on here just to be on the safe side. So if I don't use the meds because he's not ill, I'm going to put them back. If the meds will heal his wounds and the bandages don't need, I'm going to put them back in the story. Just so everybody knows. So I'm cheating, yes, but I'm cheating on camera. Next part is if the cold tokens minus board ups equals 4 or more, raise the illness of 3 chosen characters by 1. We only have 2 cold tokens, as you can see, and no board ups, so nothing happens there, which is really good. And then it says exchange the nearest location. Resolve weight tokens, we don't do that, and then resolve spirit A of all characters. Then shuffle this back in deck. So we're going to do that in order. So we're on to the exchange the nearest location. There's 2 locations that are medium, and there's 1 that is large. So I think this here is close, distant, and that is far. You can see there far. So the nearest location will obviously be the close one. So this reality impact, the findings, is now going to get shuffled back. And it says place this card under the current location card. When the location card is removed from the game, shuffle this reality impact card back into the findings deck. So that's going to be shuffled. We lose the garage, and these get shifted down 1 just like this, and we draw another location for the far distance, and it is, let's take a look, a hotel. Basement entrance, closed door. And we can find like books, cigarettes, coffees, alcohol, and jewelry into that. So that is our new locations. So that part, I'm just going to put the camera down so I can shuffle these back in. The last thing on the list that we have to resolve Spirit A on all character cards. So we're going to do that. For Pav, A, no effect. So nothing happens to him. That's good because he's getting stacked, as you can see. A bad stack. For Katya, A, habit. Discard 1 coffee from the storage or raise Katya's misery by 1. And look, we happen to have a coffee, which is really good. So she is fine. And for Marin's Spirit A and B, habit, discard 1 coffee from storage or raise Marin's misery by 1. As you can see, Katya stole that coffee. So he's getting pretty miserable. So because of that, his misery is going to 2. Poor Marin. Poor Marin. Now I take this fate card and I shuffle them back into the fate deck. And then my next thing is I draw 2 narrative action cards and I pick 1. With the narrative cards, it does tell you to take 2, pick 2, and then keep one of them, discard the other one, shuffle it back in the deck. So I did that, but this is the one that I wanted to pick. The other one that I did, I'm not going to say, because again, this is all spoilers for anybody who did not play this game yet. So I don't want to spoil it as much, but this is the card that I picked for narrative action. This is Through the Sewers. Play at any time, play at the end of the night raid phase. A chosen character on guard duty may bring additional items from the findings pile to the storage. This character may bring as many tokens, resources as they can carry normally. So this here is another good card, so I'm putting it with my duty card. I said duty again. You can see there. So I have 2 of them here that I can use right now. I'm kind of stockpiling them for the moment. So one thing I forgot to do too as well is at the end of the scavenging phase, is this hiding place goes away, and these get shuffled back into the exploration deck. One thing I like to mention too as well is with the bandage and meds where I put it on Pav, I didn't have to do that because, well, obviously the bandages would go on to him because he's wounded. But the thing is, and the meds is if he was ill, but he isn't ill, but he's wounded. But that fate card did not say to remove the wounds or remove the bandages, so that will stay exactly where it is. I just took the meds and I put it back here because he wasn't ill, as well as none of the other characters you can tell is ill. So none of them are ill, so he's going to keep the bandages here with him anyhow. Because I put it on, didn't say anything about taking it back. I don't know if we go back in storage or not. See, this is what I'm not sure of. If anybody can clarify this for me, please comment down below and let me know exactly what has to be done with this, because I really want to know. I really do. So we did a narrative. We got that. So what I'm going to do there, BoardGameManiacs, is I know this video is probably going to be a little bit lengthy so far because we are at the second part of the chapter. My brain is racing right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video there, and I'm going to do, which I find very interesting for a board game, and that is I'm going to save my results. And what that means is if you look in the book, right here it says save. At this moment, you may save the state of your game and pack it up into a box. Then you may return to it whenever you wish by setting it up and jumping right back where you left off. See 10 in the book of scripts. So we're going to look at the journal entry 10 in the book of scripts. But on top of that, it's really cool that you don't have enough time to play the game. It's taking a little bit long, or you just want to play it later on. You can save it. I'm going to show you how to save your game progress, which is really cool. But first, we're going to go to the book of scripts, and we're going to see entry number 10. We're in the book of scripts. This is entry number 10, and it says save bag and waste bag. Now, it goes through exactly how you do everything for saving the game and also setting up. You can see it's a little bit lengthy here on what to read. Not like super long, but there's enough here to read, and I'm not going to read this all on camera because it may take a couple more minutes. No big deal. I'll read it off camera, and then I'll do what it says, and I'll come back and show everybody what I did and why I did it. It's probably the best way to do it. Oh yeah. According to what it said in script entry number 10, tells you what to do. So you can see here it comes with this handy little save sheet. So on the save sheet, what I did is I wrote down all the locations and what I had here, and then I put them in the bag. And then X's on this represents the map, and the X's are what spaces have cards on them still. And you can see here, this says, if you can make out my writing or printing, it's RR, Rubble Remnant. So remember, Katya had went and she flipped over the Rubble card, but it's 2 action, I had 1 action, so there was Rubble Remnants left, so I wrote that down and that's what it was. And the rest of these were empty, except for here, I had a bed, and then there's more cards down here too as well. And I did that. Now the next thing I did is in the special notes right here, the objective that I had flipped over was help the sick and wounded in the area. I just wrote that down just to give me an idea of what objective is up right now. And also in here, I wrote down the characters I use, so Pav, Katya, and Marin. And I wrote down what their fatigue, hunger, misery, wounds, and illness was too as well, so I can keep track of. And also up here for storage times 5, I had 2 wood, which is equal 10, because times 5, so 5 times 2 is 10, and components, 2 times 5, which is 10 too as well. And that is how you keep track of your save sheets so you're going to play again. Now, what it didn't say, they had 1 bag for waste and 1 bag for save, so I just wrote save on this, and I put everything that was on the board that told me to into the entry number 10 in the bag. And then for the waste bag, the locations I went through already, the events I went through and everything are all put in this bag too as well. So I know that this stuff I don't use. This stuff is I use to set back up again. And that's pretty much it for saving your progress for this game. So, on top of that, I just put everything neatly back into the box. But I put elastics onto them because they don't have any solution to stop the cards from shifting around or anything. So I just did that just to kind of keep a little more tidy. Now I know these, like the components are going to get all messed up, but I can just separate them very quickly again. I just hate separating cards, so I just did it that way. Lightly wound them with elastic so it don't warp the cards in any way or indent them, because I don't want to damage them. There you have it, Board Game Maniacs. I hope you enjoyed this part of This War of Mine, the board game by 11-Bit Studio and Galacta. See, I keep messing that name up, but anyhow, I hope you really enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed playing this game. I just got to put the board back and the save back to clean up, but other than that, like, I'm ready so that when I want to play this again, I just have to look at my save sheet and set it up accordingly, and away I go, which is really cool. Really, really awesome game. I don't really have anything bad to say about this. It did definitely live up to its reputation of just setting up the game right from the get-go, not learning rules and just playing it, learning them as you go, which you see that I did. I stumbled over a couple of things, but I did catch them, hopefully. If you see anything at all that I did wrong in this video, please comment down below and let me know, because I am going to continue playing this through until the end. But I wanted to show how you do a saved data. So this is going to be one big long video for the first one. And then the next video that you're going to see will be the continuation, and so on like usual, which is really cool. Now, that app is very handy if you want to save your book of scripts by not going through it. Whoever created that app, I can't recall. Great job on the app. It definitely helped me out for sure. I like the miniatures, you know, the dice, specialty dice, everything. Again, I can't say anything really negative about this game because I had a ton of fun trying to survive this civil war and waiting till the ceasefire. We're still hunkered down. We're still trying to survive. So who knows what will happen? We will find out in the next episode of this gameplay. So until next time, Board Game Maniacs, you know what I'm going to say. Talk to people. Communication is key. As you can tell here, if you talk to everybody into your compound and your party and your scavenging party, you will survive, because I've survived so far. And that's very important to take note of. Hope you had fun. I had a blast doing this. Most importantly of all, and you know what I'm gonna say, and that is, I'm waiting for it. Yeah, you're right, I'll say it anyhow. Be a maniac.